Many of the examples I want to give of functional programming involve collections. And so before I can give those examples, I need to create some helper functions that we can use on those collections because it will make the functional examples easier later on. Now, these are all taken directly from the Clojure language, but the implementation may differ, I'm not sure. Now, the first thing I want to make sure is that we can tell when a collection is empty. So that's a very easy check. We're simply going to create a function called empty. Now, I wish there was a way to add a question mark in JavaScript at the end of names like this, but unfortunately that's not possible. It would be nice to be able to indicate that the function returns a Boolean. But we're stuck with this, which is fine. So let empty, and this is going to take a collection, and it's going to return true when the length of the collection is 0. Now, since this is a single line function, we can also make this easier. We can just put this all in a single line, and this will work fine. Another way you could write this, of course, is like this, because in JavaScript, if this evaluates to 0, then that is a falsy value in JavaScript, and then the bang makes it into a true value. But I find this a little bit harder to read. So let's keep it this way. Okay, the next function I want to make is called first. And all it's going to do is just return the first element from a collection. So it's going to take a collection and then is going to return the first element. And when I say collection here, I just mean an array. Then we're going to have a function called rest. And what it does is it returns everything but the first item in a collection. And to do that, we can use the JavaScript slice method. What this is going to do is it's going to drop everything up until and excluding index 1. So it's going to take starting and including from index 1 everything else until the end. And then we have one more function that's called cons. Every Lisp programmer, every Clojure programmer will be familiar with this one too. This is a function which takes some element, some item, and a collection. And what it does is it prepends, so to speak, the item onto the collection. So for example, if you have an item 1 and you have the collection 2, 3, 4, what this will do is it will return the collection 1, 2, 3, 4. So it just sticks whatever you give it at the beginning of your array. And there's a simple way to do this in JavaScript, namely, you create a new array, and you stick the item in the front, and then you use this these three dots. It's a splat operator. So what this is going to do is, rather than putting the whole array of the collection, it's going to put each item of the collection individually and make it part of this parent array. So these items are all going to be on the same level. Now, a word of caution here. In JavaScript, we don't have linked lists, at least not out of the box, whereas in Clojure, for example, we do. And something like cons, which stands for construct, by the way, as in constructing a new collection, would be much more efficient if we used a linked list, because prepending stuff to linked lists is cheap, whereas doing it with arrays is going to be much less efficient, because now we have to create a whole new array and assign, as we do that, assign each element from the old array into the new one. So this is going to take as long as the old array is big. But I don't really want to build linked lists just for the purpose of this. So modulo any performance concerns, I think using arrays for this is fine, because this is just for educational purposes. But in the real world, you'd want to use linked lists. Okay, with that out of the way, we can now look into our first functional example.